Inclusion and belonging for the college. Welcome to our session on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging around the College of Arts and Science. What's going to happen tonight is I'm going to just share some information real briefly about the college so you kind of get grounded in where we are around diversity, equity, inclusion. But more importantly, we have some of our wonderful College of Arts and Science students here today that I really would like for you to hear from them. So we'll do that. And then if there's any questions, we'll do that. We'll leave time for that as well. So I always like to start off when I'm talking about diversity, equity, inclusion for the College of Arts and Science. I like to ground people in what we're committed, what we're committed on. And so we are committed to providing a high quality learning and workplace environment. We're intentional in making sure that we're diverse and equitable. And we really want to make sure that we're affirming, engaging, and valuing differences. So we really try really hard around the learning and work environment. We're working hard to be intentionally diverse and equitable, and always trying to affirm and engage and value differences. Our priorities around that is around expanding our DEI efforts and then making sure that we're supporting those and building the infrastructure. And so we have hired myself as a diversity officer for the college. I have a program director of student diversity initiatives who meets with our diverse students for all of our programs and any student that we need her to meet with. I have now a D&I special projects assistant who's working on things for me as well. The college has built a equity, diversity, inclusion council that advises the dean of the college, and that is made up of faculty, staff, undergraduate students, and graduate students. So everyone is represented in leadership. And then each of our departments have faculty D&I liaisons that meet with me on a regular basis. And then all of our departments are starting to have like diversity committees and really focus on it as well. So we're we've been very proactive in really trying to build our infrastructure since I've gotten here. And then increasing recruitment and retention of our diverse faculty, staff, and students is always in the first and foremost in our mind. So we're doing what we call pipeline programs where we are, doing things in the summertime, and we're inviting high school students to come in. But we're also, creating new programs and things to also try to recruit students as well. We have new programs for our faculty members and our staff. So we'll talk a little bit more about the student programs in a bit. And then, again, always trying to improve our climate, make sure we are a place that students feel like they belong, because they do, and make sure we're having inclusive classrooms, that our curriculum, which is, when you think about the College of Arts and Science, and you think about diversity, equity, inclusion, and women's studies, and just name it, they're grounded, they're here, our scholars are here in this college. So we're really excited about that, but we're always trying to expand our curriculum to be inclusive of what the students are interested in as well. And then, of course, again, making sure we have that inclusive work environment. So for students, I know what they always want to know is, if I'm a diverse student, what does CAS have to offer me, right? Because tonight is about the College of Arts and Science. And I will tell you about some of the big initiatives that we have out of the dean's office. Now, the college itself, departments, right, other avenues like our pre-law center, our pre-med center, all of those will have different programs as well. But these programs are programs that are headed up by myself and my team out of the dean's office. So the first one is what we call our Louis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation Program. This is actually a Miami program. It's across the College of Education, the College of Engineering, the College of Arts and Science, Farmer School of Business, and our Creative Arts College. So it's all STEM students, but it's a very restricted type program. And so, but it's won national awards. And our scholars going to do amazing things after graduation. So that's like our Miami program, but we lead it out of the CAS, out of College of Arts and Science. But the programs that I'm really excited to talk about is some of the new ones that the College of Arts and Science has launched or is launching over this next year. One is we launched our new Humanities and Social Sciences College program. So if you're an English major, if you are a psychology major, if you are political science, right, this program would be one that you might be interested in if you, meet the criteria for being your primary major. And so all of these programs, the Haas and the STEM program, you would get invitations from us once you, submit to Miami, submit an application to Miami. And then our newest one is the Dean STEM Scholars Program that we're launching in the fall of next year, but we'll be recruiting this year for it. And this one will be, it will be based in Cass. And so the reason why it has 2 STEMs is because it's going to focus on some areas we have in our college. So again, for our high achieving first year students, though we support the students all 4 years, but we recruit first year incoming students. So science, again, technology, but this time the E is for equity and public health. So it's going to be for public health majors that have their primary major in public health in the College of Arts and Science, because I know there's one outside the College of Arts and Science, but that doesn't qualify. And then medicine, and then healthcare, because the college is building a lot of great programs. So if you're one of our medical laboratory science people, you would qualify for this program. And then we just launched a couple of weeks ago our Arts and Science Multicultural Association program, which is open to all of our diverse students in the college. And it's really to help our students in the college kind of bridge that gap between our students and our majors and corporations, and really going into the workforce. So a lot of times our students will think, I'm not sure what to do with this major, or sometimes will think, I'm not sure what to do with this major. If they decide they don't want to go to medical school, they want to kind of wait a year before they go to grad school or something like that, and they need to work. Well, let me tell you that there are amazing opportunities out there for you. And so we built this program to kind of help you along with that as well. So we're really excited about that. So we have a lot of corporate partners and things like that who are really interested in talking to our students. So that'll be an exciting thing. What's the hallmark of our student success programs are these areas that you see. So doesn't matter what the program is, even our LSAMP programs, they all come with what we call early arrival programs or early arrival boot camps, meaning that you as a first year student would get to come to campus early the week before classes would start for your fall semester, your first fall semester. And doing that early arrival, you'll have peer mentors and you'll have faculty and staff like myself that will help you get acclimated to the campus. You get to move in early, so you get to choose your own bed in your dorm room. But we do a lot of workshop, academic skill building, all kinds of things. If you're in STEM, we'll probably do chemistry workshop, biology workshops, math workshops, all that kind of stuff. To just kind of help you transition from high school to college and understand that we have wonderful, fabulous students that come in that are very, very high achieving, but college is not high school. So we really want to make sure that students understand the difference in the level of work that'll be required. And then, of course, like I said, ongoing throughout the year, in all 4 years, we will support you and, helping to build your academic skills. Make sure, you get all the resources you need for looking at grad schools or medical school or pre-law centers. Just name it. And again, the career stuff that I talked about. Faculty and staff, and peer mentoring. So upper class students help mentor our first year students, and so do our faculty and our staff. But one of the hallmarks of all of our programs in CAS and the LSAMP programs is all of our students in our programs get to understand about undergraduate research. So you get exposure to it. You actually end up doing a project, and then you end up presenting that project at like the Miami University Undergraduate Research Forum. Students have done it at other conferences. So it's really, really unique opportunity because, right, we're arts and science, and we're STEM, and we're social science. So all of our faculty, staff, and students do a ton of research. So we introduce it into the programs, and the students build some really great transferable skills, whether they want to do research or not. And then, of course, like I said, all year, we have these wraparound services to support you and that kind of stuff as well. Students always ask me about student organizations in the College of Arts and Science. So for diverse students. So these are some of them. Some of these are, I put them on here because they are usually led by a CAS student. Most of the students in the program are CAS because, again, we're the biggest college. But we do have several programs that our diverse students have started that are successful. But there's also opportunities for you to represent the college on our Dean Student Advisory Council, where you advise the dean, or our College and Arts and Science CAS Ambassador Program, where again, you kind of represent the college at different things. So just some other unique opportunities, but please know that Miami's got probably over 600 student organizations, and you can make one if you want more. So there's plenty of kind of, things to do and something kind of if your taste. So are there any questions? I'm going to stop sharing. Are there any questions?
We do have one in the chat.
Okay.
Katie asked, these seem like great programs. Do they have certain application requirements? Where will we find more information about applying? Probably talking about like the earlier, maybe I'm speaking for her, early arrival program or access to being put into a LSAMP or a HA.
So all of the programs, LSAMP, HA Scholars, and the STEM Scholars, when you apply to Miami, that is your application. So we use the application that you apply to the university. So you don't have to fill out a separate application. I do send out an invite and ask you to invite you to come to a reception. So doing, the Making Miami events where students get to come to campus and again, and kind of, talk to admissions and do a whole lot of things. We will have receptions during that time. So that's usually where I really get to, talk to students. If students have a lot of questions, I will meet with them one-on-one. But we really make our decisions kind of based off of, your application to the university. So no need to apply to anything else. And then all those pillars that you saw around the success, the student success programs, the early arrival program, all of that. If you get accepted into the program, then it's a requirement that you come to whichever one of those, right? So if you're in LSAMP, we have an early arrival program. If you get accepted and you want to be in the program as a first year student, you have to come to the early arrival program. There's also an undergraduate research course that you're required to take. So the programs already have a lot of that built into it. But the application process is whatever your application to Miami. Did that answer the question? Was there something else?
Yep, that's good.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have some wonderful, fabulous College of Arts and Science students here. So I'd ask you all to introduce yourself, just kind of say, your name, where you're from, your major, and then we'll get into some good questions. So Grace, you want to kick us off?
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Stewart. I'm a sophomore here at Miami. I'm from Ashburn, Virginia, and I'm majoring in sociology with a minor in entrepreneurship.
Jules?
Hi, I'm Jules. I am a junior. I call it the she, her, hers. My major, I'm double majoring in biochemistry and nutrition with co-majors in environmental science and pre-medical studies.
And where are you from, Jules?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Grace, did you say where you're from?
Hi, I'm Destiny Henderson. I'm a second year psychology major and I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Okay. All right, so let's get started. I have some questions here and just feel free to answer however. Why did you choose Miami and the College of Arts and Science? And what are some of the things you were involved in?
I can go ahead and start. I always think of college as a relationship. So I always wanted the university I go to want me as much as I wanted them. And I felt like Miami was always in my email about all the opportunities they had to offer. So that's why I'm here. And at Miami, I'm a part of the Humanities and Social Science Scholars Program. I'm also a member of a Christian ministry called Delight. I am a student orientation undergraduate leader, undergraduate assistant for a UNB 1-1 class. And I'm also a student representative on the CAS Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council.
I can go next. So my main involvements are for student organizations, but that ties me to different other things. So the first one I can talk about is the student organization for undergraduate research and career exploration. So I'm the program coordinator for that. So I'm in charge of making sure all of our monthly meetings are tailored to our students. I'm the community service chair for the Minority Association for Pre-Health Students. And I am the secretary for infrastructure and sustainability for our associate student government. So if you were involved in student government in your high school, then you can continue that on at our college. So I oversee all the things that do with sustainability and infrastructure on campus. And then I'm also the education chair for Engineers Without Borders. And the other things I'm involved with is LSAMP. So that's one of the programs that Ms. Craig was mentioning earlier. I'm a tour guide on campus. I'm also do undergraduate research, and I'm pursuing an honors thesis in the Department of History.
I chose Miami because of all of the opportunities that I saw, especially for students of diverse backgrounds. And so on campus, I am a peer tutor for the Center for Psychological Inquiry. I'm also a Haas Scholar, and I'm a peer mentor for Haas Scholars. I'm also involved in PsyChi, which is the Honor Society for psychology majors. And I'm also a research assistant in a psychology lab, and I'm involved in the Association of Black Psychologists.
Very well accomplished. So how are any of you doing undergraduate research? Because that was one of the things that I talked about. And if you are, do you want to share kind of your research and what you're doing?
Yeah, so I do undergraduate research in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. So if you like eating chocolate, drinking tea, there's things in those called polyphenols. You learn a lot about those in organic chemistry. So if you take organic, be excited. But with polyphenols, those are secondary plant metabolites. So I'm interested in seeing how they interact with nanoparticles and hoping if they can help with drug delivery for future medical purposes. And how I started my honors thesis, which is going to be like a research paper, that came from taking on a history of South Africa this past spring. And I really saw a lot of the parallels in the history of South Africa, the history of the United States, just from like the high school, grade school information that I got. And from that, I really want to learn more about the food apartheid, specifically in Selma, Alabama, and Soweto, South Africa. Those two specifically, because those were monumental places where civil rights moments happen. So I really want to see how those places that the world was focused on for so long kind of now have communities that are underserved.
And then you also just presented at a research conference. Yes.
Yeah, so I presented at the annual Biomedical Research Conference for Minoritized Scientists, AMBER camps for short. Another popular one is SACNAS. You saw that as another student org on campus. Anyone can get involved with that. But specifically with AMBER camps, that was really nice as a networking opportunity. There was a lot of grad schools, a lot of sessions where you learn how to like synthesize research in the current field, especially the presentations were really well known and well respected. We had a Nobel laureate come in, and she was our opening keynote. But I specifically presented research on how maternal nutrition affects DNA methylation in babies. And that came from doing an internship at Dartmouth College during their MD PhD undergraduate summer fellowship. And then I've done past research at Cincinnati Children's in between the summer between my first year and second year. And specifically, I was looking at how sickle cell anemia, splenic function and sickle cell anemia for those who are taking a specific drug. And then Katie, do you have any interests you want us to talk more about or tailor it to you? We're more than happy to kind of make sure you're getting all your questions answered.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in studying law and political science, but it didn't seem like any of you were taking that. But I'm interested to hear anything that you want to talk about.
So I think Grace is criminology in some kind of way, right?
Yes, I'm a sociology major, but my focus is on criminology.
So Katie, I can tell you that, so in the Haas Scholars Program, that's where the political science students are. And you said law, did you say law as well? Yes. Yep. Yes. So we have an amazing pre-law center here that you want to get involved with immediately when you come. And so certainly as a Haas Scholar, I'm definitely making sure that you get connected. But we've got programs where our students, like our governor relations network, where students go to Washington. We just have amazing opportunities here for that. So yes, we have a lot, just as much for our political science students as well. And I was going to say that because, you know, we concentrate on undergraduate research, and just to make sure, because the skills are transferable. And a lot of my political science students, you know, love it because they've learned things and to use it in other ways. And I tell students, it doesn't matter where you're going and what your career is, you're gonna have to research something, right? But we also make sure, because students need internships, right? So a lot of my political science students are talking about internships in law firms and things like that for the summer, right? And so the pre-law centers help us get students connected to that. And then of course, two of our biggest donors for Haas is our lawyers. So, right, so we have some really great connections to support students with that as well. Destiny, did you want to say anything? I didn't want to take away from you guys saying anything. I think you work in the lab, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm an undergraduate research assistant in a psychology lab where we study global mental health. And currently the project that we're working on is sort of how Asian Americans were affected during the pandemic, like their mental health due to the rise of like Asian hate crimes. And so I'm currently just like transcribing interviews for that.
Okay, next question. What are some of the strategies or tools that you utilize to help you do well academically, you know, manage your time, all that good stuff?
I normally go to the Vanilla Learning Center for academic tutoring and for just academic support. So when I first came to Miami, I didn't really know if the study habits that I had in high school would be useful here if I had to adapt in any way. So I scheduled an appointment with them, and they helped me create like a schedule, and they helped me come up with different study tools and helped me with just like managing my time in general. And I love the Vanilla Learning Center because they also have like a website that you can go to with online workshops that you can do honestly now to prepare yourself before you even get to Miami. And then I know in King Library, we have the How Writing Center. So if you need someone to look over your paper, or if you're struggling with citations or just need help with writing, you can definitely go there. And I know as a part of Haas, we work hand in hand with the librarians, and they're very, very helpful.
Yeah, so I have dyslexia. So I work with the Student Disability Services, and I can kind of talk about that experience. They have been really, really easy to work with, especially compared to my high school. All the testing is done seamlessly online. So you just have to schedule stuff 48 hours in advance, and then you can go in there and get tested with reduced distractions, extra time, whatever your accommodations say. But I will say the only like difficulty with getting accommodations is just making sure you have a note from someone of authority, just verifying those accommodations. But if you have something from high school, it can carry on. I just had to get retested because mine was like done in like 5th grade and they didn't accept that anymore. But something I also use is office hours. I go to my biophysical chemistry office hours weekly. He knows my name. And the one thing about that is it doesn't mean you're necessarily always struggling. Sometimes I just go and I'm like, how are you doing? How's your research? And even though like it may seem kind of I think people initially don't realize the importance of office hours, but what you're doing all those times is making sure you're building up a relationship. Because as you go on, you want those internships, you want to go into law school. You need letters of recommendation, and how you get that is through people who actually know you. And it's better to have someone who says, oh, I know they worked extremely hard for this A. They did tremendous. I saw the growth. I knew how they were doing. I knew how many things they was handling, compared to like, oh, they just did well, they got an A, keep it moving. So that's the difference between a strong letter of recommendation versus you had someone who just said, okay. And I do think Miami does a great job in allowing more interactions with your professors to make sure that you're able to do as well as you can. And I know one other thing is that with like pre-law, I'm pretty sure there was like a law class, at least one of my pre-law, like to help with the LSAT. Grace, you're nodding your head. Okay. So that's also a really great resource, especially as you're studying, because that is a bit difficult. And I do know like our alumni, they're very, very vast. I always just go to our alumni connections. That has helped with the networking side of things, like post-graduation.
I would say that it's very important to make use of like study groups, because everyone in that group is going to have like different perspectives and like different knowledge to like bring to the table. And also when you're explaining information to other people, that's how you really know that you know it. And we also have SI sessions, which are usually led by a student that's like considered more of like an expert in that class. And those are like small like group sessions. And so those can be very helpful too.
And I just have one more thing to add. For me personally, in order to thrive academically, I also have to like thrive mentally. And I feel like Miami does a great job at advocating for like students' mental health. So I know that we have like the student counseling service here, and the first 3 therapy sessions are free. And they also have free group therapy sessions. So at any time, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, there's always someone that you can talk to.
Kind of going off the mental health resources, I know we're like diverging from the question, but I do think it's really important. There's also dog therapy. I know a lot of people miss their dogs from home. A way that I kind of keep my sanity is going to the CSDI. So that stands for the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion. That's a place where all students just like come hang out, de-stress. That's where I'm like, my brain needs to just relax. I don't want to be thinking as much. And really one of the cool things that is inside the CSDI that is not as well promoted is there's a wellness room. So it's always good to there, just go and get some white noise, do some like fidgeting activities, just bean bags, just relax. So that's another good thing you could use to help your mental health. And the nice thing about that is the CSDI is located in the middle of campus in our central building.
Yes, in our Armstrong Student Center. So thank you. No, those are very, very important resources. And, you know, we partner very closely, I partner very closely with the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion, but a lot of our partners across campus, and certainly our counseling center and the Ranella Center and all those as well. So, all right, quick question. What has made your experience in Miami more meaningful and impactful, where you feel like you have a sense of belonging, right? Because we're talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. So I like to kind of bring that back in.
I can go ahead and start. For me, it's going to the CSDI, as I kind of stated, but also some of the organizations I'm a part of. I'm part of Love You Like a Sister, known as LILA's, BSAA, so Black Student Action Association. Those 2 roles, I do not have leadership positions, which has been very intentional. The nice thing about leadership positions is you're growing, you're investing yourself more in the org, but that's also kind of like a little bit more mental strain. So those are my like resources for, I'm here to have fun. I'm not worrying about, did I purchase the food all right? Did I go to the funding? Did I do everything I need to do? I'm just showing up. I just sign up and show up. So those 2 orgs, especially Lila's, has been very important to make sure that, you know, I'm just still being able to survive and thrive.
I think I also found a sense of belonging in a lot of the organizations that I'm a part of and a lot of the leadership positions that I have. I know as a student orientation undergraduate leader, or as we like to say, a SOL, I really learned about my leadership skills because I feel like I consider myself somewhat introverted. So being an introverted leader for me is very different when I look at like the stereotypical leader. So I feel like just learning what works for me in a sense and how I can be a leader and take on these positions, but also stay true to myself was very important. I definitely got to do that with the leadership positions that I got.
I would also say that like the orgs that I've joined helped me a lot. Like I joined Black Women Empowered and Association of Black Psychologists. So those are very helpful in sort of helping me like find my people. And also I would say Haas Scholars helped me to find like a sense of belonging as well, since it's meant for students of like diverse backgrounds. And with Haas, we had to do a pre-semester program called Made in Miami. And so that was also very nice because it was like before like school started, and just yeah, like meeting other students that have similar backgrounds to you.
And I definitely agree with Destiny. I feel like the pre-semester programs also help me a lot because during these programs, you really get to interact with students that are at Miami and students that look like you and that have the same values as you and that may have the same major as you. So before the semester was really good for me to get a chance to actually interact with these students and talk with them, because then I wasn't as nervous about coming to Miami.
Good. All right. When you decided to come to Miami, was there a hope that you'd have a chance to meet different students? Because Grace, you just talked about that, right? That you get to interact with all kinds of students. So was that one of your hopes in selecting the university?
That was definitely one of my hopes. But since Miami is like a predominantly white university or institution, it was also something that I was really scared about because one worry that I had was I didn't want to just be any other student. I wanted the professors to actually care about who I was as a person. But even as an African American woman at Miami, I feel like Miami does a great job at really bringing people together, because I know for the pre-semester program, my mentor that I had was like, girl, you need to be in this group chat. Like you need to do this, that, and the other thing. So the upperclassmen especially are very good at like bringing you in and making sure that you have what you need to get off your feet and really progress and succeed at Miami.
Anyone else want to comment or?
I would also say that was like a hope for me to like meet different people too, especially coming from like out of state. I think overall, I just wanted college to be kind of like a learning experience. And I would say like that Miami definitely does offer that because of all of the different like orgs and like programs that you can join that are meant for students of like diverse backgrounds and everything. So yeah, that I would say yes.
I think I can kind of share about the experience of someone who did not do like the previously named pre-semester programs. I had a different scholarship, so it made me do another one. And there was a thing where like if you come and you want to really go to have a lot of diversity, you room with the maid at Miami. That's something that's unknown, but like once you get on campus, that's like now known, which is a little bit frustrating, but like I didn't have that opportunity. So I was specifically put in like the honors, and even within that category, I do think there was a lot of diversity and making sure that you're just figuring out what diversity means to you and making sure that you're being intentional with your friendships and relationships. Because sometimes you'll see someone and it's like, oh, this is not my type of people, but you have to learn to just be okay with that and be like, okay, that's okay, that we're not all going to be friends. Kind of just create those good friendships. And that does not happen overnight. I know sometimes in the movies, you'll see that, oh my goodness, it's the first week of school and then you already have 5 best friends. It's okay. It's a growing process. You learn how to just, be good friends to each other. I know some of my friends, they just have been really graceful with me and being like, okay, if I don't get to hang out with you all the time, that is perfectly fine. But like, that's the type of friendships you need, is someone who just understands and like nurtures you and you can nurture them.
And I think, we throw the word diverse around a lot, right? And for me, it's expansive, right? So we can talk about underrepresented, which has every category you can think of. And I was first gen, I'm African American, I'm a woman, like you just name it, right? And so when we say diverse, that's a lot in CAST, that's a lot of, right? And then students get to self-identify. So students will come up to me sometime and say, I'm a da 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 da. And I say, okay, like, you know what I mean? So I just don't want anybody that's watching this, or Katie, you to think that, we're just talking about a certain group, because we're not. You define it, what it means, kind of thing, right? Based on your identity, what you associate with, that kind of stuff. Okay. All right.
You're muted.
Okay, I said we're gonna wait. I think 2 more questions and then I'm gonna stop and see if Katie has some other questions. We've talked about a lot of great things. So I'm gonna ask the question because we do have a student here, another student is gonna be watching this, and they do want to know, so what have been some of your challenges, right, Katie? We want to know what have been some of your challenges. Just transitioning to college, number one, because these will be high school students coming to college. Transitioning to college, and then, whatever challenge you had, did you feel you had support here at Miami?
I would say one of the challenges that I faced was that, like, overall, Miami is a very high achieving school. And so I feel like imposter syndrome can kind of be very real, where you look around and it seems like everyone else is doing like way more than you. And so, yeah, that was one of my challenges. But I would say, like, to combat that, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in a way, as in, like, you have to go after opportunities that you may like not even think that you're quote unquote qualified for. And so, yeah, I would say that's helped me.
I would say my biggest challenge was tending, or it still is my biggest challenge, but it's tending to my mental health while focusing on academics at the same time, because I feel like sometimes throughout the year, I call myself a scholar, but in order to be a scholar, I feel like I have to be a part of so many things. So for me, I'm really trying to balance that out and really do things that I'm passionate about and not just saying yes to every opportunity that comes my way. Because I feel like Miami offers so much to a point where it can almost be overwhelming. And as a first year student, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss out on anything. Like, let me just say yes to everything. But doing that can make you feel burnt out very quickly. So I feel like throughout the year, and this goes for just like past college too, it's important to advocate for yourself, and it's important to let your teachers know, like, I know this assignment is due at 11:59 today, but I'm a little like behind. I have some things that I'm dealing with. Is it okay if I have an extension? Your teachers are really going to appreciate it, or your professors are really going to appreciate it if you do communicate with them. And if you need help that goes beyond your professors, like I said, you can go to the student counseling service. And I know that along the way, you're going to have lots of mentors surrounded by you, even in your residence hall, that you can talk to in times of need.
Yeah, your professors are really helpful as long as they know. Like, it's this thing, like, they can't help you if they don't know. Like, when I was going to the conference, I just had to communicate. I'm not there. I'm simply not going to be there. What does that look like? Some assignments are like, it's all good. You've been attending all the time. You've been good. Okay, we'll check mark it for you. They're like, okay, you need to come in the day before, get it done. We'll see you next week. So that communication has to be had. But kind of for me, what I've been struggling with, it was kind of like what I was talking about earlier, is just making sure I'm tending to my social life, because I do a lot, like pouring into Miami, pouring into academics, but it's just like, am I making those like quality friendships? Am I going on spring break with those people? And for me, that was something I had to, like, again, reevaluate with myself and making sure the friendships that I do have, the quality. And it's not about quantity, again, it's about quality. So making sure my friends know, if I don't text you in a year, that does not mean I love you less. That might mean I'm just busy. But I'll text you when something triggers me and like makes me remember of you. I'll reach out. We'll still go out and walk, go talk. And that's the thing with like my other college friends. Like, some person just texted me last night, was like, Jules, I miss you. When can we meet? I'm like, okay, I'll put you on my calendar. But it's just like making sure that you're communicating that with your friends, and just being okay with finding the friendships that really are, they should be supporting you. Like the person I was kind of referencing earlier, he was supporting me last couple months. So I'm like, I'm here for you. Whatever you need, this meeting right here, it's going to be for you. So just being intentional with your friendships. I think that was something I was struggling with, but now as an older junior, I feel more settled and confident with that part of myself.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I will tell you from my perspective, both as someone who teaches, right, and is an instructor, been a faculty member, and also as a DEI officer that deals with a whole lot of stuff for students. First year students especially, someone said it, they really feel like, oh my God, everybody's in everything. And so I got to come and just get in everything, right? And it's like, no, you don't, right? You kind of need to ease your way into things and, don't lose sight of why you're here, right? So I always tell students, you got academics, that's why you're here, right? You go to classes and doing all that. But, we do realize that students get sick. We do realize that, emergencies happen or people have to rush home. Like life still goes on while you're in college. So if you are communicating with your instructor, if you are going to class, and there are going to be days you're not going to feel like it, but you want to make sure that you're going, right? The other thing is, if you do run into an issue, a challenge that you feel like you can't handle, making sure you ask for help, right? So folks, especially anything around DEI, and that's why folks like me are in all of our colleges has a diversity officer and someone that you can go to, right? Your faculty members are great. They do not want our students to have any issues, but whatever it is, if you can't work it out with the person, the student, the instructor, whoever, or something, you feel like something you're being harassed or biased against or whatever, right? And of course we have our OEO office. We have reporting system, we have everything here at the university, but you have in your college and in your departments, folks that you can go to as well. So, I never want students to feel like, they don't have any place to go to because that's why we're here kind of thing. So that's the other thing, especially for our first years. Jules?
Yeah, and kind of to add on to that, the Dean of Students is a tremendous resource. And I would say this with all like the kind of high up officials, they all want to get to know you. Like even the President Crawford this past Saturday, they had boot camp at their house. So you come bringing your workout gear, you get more stuff when you're there. They didn't care if you've been doing 20 marathons in your whole life, or if this is just your first exercise, you may just want to stand and socialize. They don't care. They just want to see you getting involved and like getting to know them. Like they can't help you again if they don't know what you're struggling with. But kind of also speaking to like the Dean of Students, she has a Dean's Advisory Board. There it is, DAB. And so that's a board where she just sits down with maybe 12 students all across the university from different backgrounds and just learns about what's happening, what's on the students' hearts and minds. That's how she always opens the meeting. So all these people are really here to help you. If you have like an extended absence, like pretend you get mono, you can ask them to help you with that, and they'll work with you and your professors. So that's not just you kind of handling on your own, but there's a lot of support, especially from the higher ups.
Yeah, I agree. And especially in the College of Arts and Science, our dean is the same way. He's so actively involved with students and doing things and have all kinds of advisory boards and right, he's very passionate about students. So it was one of the first things we talked about when I took this position is how we're going to support our students, kind of thing. So, but know that, no matter where you are, that all the colleges have that as well. Okay. So last question is, what's the one piece of advice you wish someone had told you before you became a first-year student at a college campus, on a college campus, right? To help you do better that first semester, first year. What is the one piece of advice, because you're going to give it to these students now, that you wish someone had told you that you would tell first-year students?
Don't get involved with everything. I think for me, it was kind of special because I entered during COVID year, so everything was virtual. But like, especially transitioning from first year to second year and having stuff being in person and walking everywhere, you figure out that like that takes up a couple hours of your day, and that it just accumulates. So pick a couple. I know how one of my friends described it. Pick something that could be pre-professional if you already know that. You said law, so something around that realm, something that just sounds interesting in general. Maybe it's the dodgeball club. Maybe it's Engineers Without Borders. And then something that you're just really passionate about, whether it's service or speaking, working with children, whatever that may be. just try 3 out, and you can always expand. That's never a problem, getting more, if you can only just handle 1, that's perfectly fine. No one's here to judge you. It's just about what you can do. And I think that's something that you just have to have that inner connection with yourself and know when you're hitting a limit. Like, I know when I'm like, oh, this is top. I'm fizzling out. And you just have to be aware of that and just know how to cope with that and make sure that, okay, you're slowly decreasing an appropriate rate.
My biggest piece of advice is that college is a learning experience. So you don't have to come in knowing everything, and it's okay to have a plan, but make like different changes to that plan along the way. And then another huge piece of advice is that networking is key. Your grades, they don't define you. Yes, they're important, but when you're networking with people and you're looking for jobs, they want to care about who you are as a person. That's what's gonna take you and set you apart from everyone else here. And I think one thing that helps with that is never doubting yourself or what you're capable of doing. At Miami, you see so many scholars and so many people are part of anything and everything with so many leadership positions. And I never want you to ever think like, oh, I wish I could do that. Oh, I can't do that. They're so different from me. I have this, and this that I have to do. Like, I'm struggling with this. I could never do that. That's not true, because we have people here that want to support you and that want to help you strengthen your weaknesses and that want to help you bridge a gap between what you thought you couldn't do and what you actually can do.
I would say have empathy for your future self. And what I mean by that is that if you manage your time well enough, you're going to have like more time for yourself in the future. But then if you procrastinate and everything, you're only going to get burnt out, and your future self will be just burnt out and sad. So yeah, have empathy for your future self.
I like that, Destiny. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So, okay, at this point, I'm gonna leave it open for questions. And since Katie, since you're our resident student, please ask away.
I have 2 questions actually. My sister attends Miami, but she is a lovely human. She's a straight woman, and I don't think she would have the personal experience that a queer person might have. So I would like to hear your perspective of what queer life looks like at Miami, perhaps.
So do you do it in the students want to? Okay.
Yes. So my first year roommate, they identify as queer. So that was kind of like all lived experience, not even my bad. That's not all lived experience. I was able to see their lived experience through that living situation. I definitely think one of the things I would recommend them to have done more was go to the CSDI. There was a whole section where a lot of members who identify as queer in the community to just go chill, relax. Also, there is the closet, the open door closet. That's the proper name. So if you do not have any gender affirming clothes, you can go there, and this is a free service that you can have access to and get the clothing that you would want to help affirm your identity. But also another good thing is like there's a lot of different activities and events you can join. So CutieCon is going on right now. I'm trying to think of what else. I know you didn't say you're like in the STEM side of things, but still with political science, there's OSTEM, so out in STEM, if that could be of your interest. Those are the resources that I have right now. I know that they have a Tinder. When I'm going back to my first year roommate, they have not at least expressed any problems with that, like their relationship status in a romantic way on campus. But again, I do think that would be something that you also have to just have that, be careful of if you're going to meet with someone in person. So they always share their location with me, especially if it's during the nighttime, to make sure that if something does happen, I'm aware I can contact the proper authorities.
Well, Jules, I think you covered it. So yes, there's a big community here, Katie, big, lots of support. I think you mentioned this, Jules. So we keep saying the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion, and I think we put the link in there. But in there is a wonderful director, associate director, Dr. April Callis, and she's our associate director for our LGBTQ plus initiatives. And so amazing support, amazing organizations, and Haas Scholars. I have all, students that identify all kinds of ways. And that's just, all of them do, all of my organizations do. But I know for a fact in Haas I do because students have told me. And so, we just go with the flow. Like it's, we're just very supportive of our students, no matter what. But there is a community here. As a matter of fact, outside of my own students, I just went to something recently, and I sat down, and then all of the students that came and sat down with me identified as queer, and we had them all. So, so again, very, very supportive. But if you aren't finding the resources, you're not connecting to, the population of students you want to connect with, Dr. Callis can help you. There's other organizations, all the things Jules said, people like me in the colleges can help you, all of that. So you will be definitely supported.
I definitely think the big first step is just sitting down in CSDI. You don't have to do anything. Just introduce yourself first, because if you don't, then you're not going to really make those develop those relationships. But your first week, you're going to that CSDI and you're sitting down. That's how you start to make those relationships, and that's how you find like a good sense of community. But my bad, continue talking.
No, that's right. Because that they have a section over there, like where they tend to sit and stuff like that. And the students interact with each other, but I noticed that they kind of sit together too in community, right? Kind of thing. So, okay, next question.
It's really good to hear. I really like that. I don't know. What do you guys do for fun on campus? What's your favorite weekend thing?
There's this organization called MAP. I think it stands for Miami Activities and Programming. And they have stuff like all the time, like every week. I remember like my favorite thing I went to with them, they put on a movie like outside in like a field. And I think I forgot which movie it was, but it was like Coco or something. And yeah, it was really good. So yeah, that organization always has like events like every week. It's just like fun stuff like that. And they're always like free too.
And just to add on to Destiny, I feel like we have a lot of sporting events too. And a lot of people say that our sport teams aren't that good, but I love every single one of them. There's a football game tomorrow that I'm going to be watching virtually. I love our entire athletic team, like football, hockey, name a sport, we probably have it. They're amazing, and I love going to the games. And I just think seeing the community go out and supporting our athletes is just amazing, and it's amazing to be a part of NC.
Mine usually have to do revolve around food. So I know last weekend my friend invited me to a soup party. I still live on campus, so that's why you see like a residential hall situation. So I brought salsa as my soup. But I was able to try a lot of different soups there. I know a lot of times I just go uptown. So if you ever like heard of like downtown areas and stuff, like it's the same idea, but we just call it uptown at Miami. I've tried those foods up there. We have done, and one of my friends lives off campus, so she makes me food. So there's other things. And it's not, I actually do really enjoy the dining food on campus. But it's always just nice to kind of have community and cook food. Actually, that's something that I really love, and it's like a de-stressor that I have not been able to do on campus. But like when I go off campus, that's something I can do.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being here. You have my contact information personally. So if you have any questions or as you're going through your process, and I think Grace said this, it's a journey, right? You're in the journey right now of trying to make your decision. But when you get in college, I say the same thing. I tell students to enjoy the journey, do all the things you heard the students talk about. But we are striving real hard to be an inclusive community. And so please know that definitely in the college, but the university as well. And so pretty much anything you can think of from in terms of curriculum and want to study to activities and things like that, Miami has it for you. The College of Arts and Science definitely has a lot of those types of programs and stuff too as well. I want to thank my partners in crime tonight, the young ladies that came out to help us with that. And so thank you for that as well. You guys did a fantastic job. And then I think I have one more question. Jules, you want to tell her?
Oh, yeah. So I would just highly recommend when you're doing your application, have you applied yet? Submit the app. Okay. I don't know if you can go back, but if you can, or if you didn't, check the box for the Honors College, like Podesta Scholars and Presidential Fellows program. All those are really great opportunities to have more, each one does something differently. I'm not a Podesta Scholar. I am in the Honors College. So when you get involved with that, you get a schedule early for classes. I quickly learned that scheduling is really important. And you have to do 8 honors experiences associated with the Honors College. And that could be doing something like tour guiding or doing your classes or doing an internship. So it's really flexible. And it's not like you have to add something else. And then also I'm part of the Presidential Fellows program. And that just involves doing, there's a Presidential Fellows showcase in the spring. You do that. And then if you get that scholarship, then that lasts your for 8 semesters. And the cool thing about that is there's no really associated requirements after that, but it is full tuition and full room and board. But there's a lot of different programming going on for the Presidential Fellows. So there's a committee, there's an organization. So you're going to have different opportunities to make sure. Oh, yes, I love to see it. And then I'll hopefully see you in April, or I think it's in March. I can't remember when the showcase is, but highly recommend just looking out for that email.
And also, I know you're interested in political science. So if you want to reach out to, or get connected up with someone in that department, reach out to me because I can do that for you as well. I have students in my House Scholars program that are political science majors that are going through the programs for pre-law and all that right now. So if you wanted to talk to one of them just to see what that experience is like, I can help you with that as well. And that's the same for anyone else. If you look at the College of Arts and Sciences Diversity Inclusion website, the College of Arts and Science website, and then click Diversity and Inclusion. My information is all over that. And then you'll find out more about DEI in the College of Arts and Science as well. But thank you all. And I'll be here if you have any more questions. But other than that, I'd like to thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, Katie.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Have a great night.